Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's session, we will be talking about discipline. In today's session, we will be talking about discipline. So we know that last week we discussed direction, right? Which means that we are agreeing with God on the destination so that we can clearly hear the direction and hear the instruction that He has for us. Okay, so today we're going to talk about discipline. Okay, so discipline is self-control. Discipline is self-control. Discipline is regulating whatever you have the ability to do. Okay, so the way you think, the way you feel, the way you speak, the way you work, the way you learn, anything that you have the ability to do is discipline when you regulate it, right? So the root word of discipline is disciple. And disciple means to follow. It means to be a student. And a student is one who studies, right? So to have discipline, you must have first made a sound decision through what you've studied to know how you should respond in any given circumstance or situation. So when a lot of times we like to blame outside things, right? But through discipline, we can make a sound decision of how to respond, how somebody speaks to us, what they do to us, whatever situation we in. We can regulate how we feel and how we think about that. That is discipline. Okay. So if you don't like to learn, how will you obtain the knowledge to be better if you're so used to making rash and impulsive decisions, right? When you have discipline, you have studied the direction that you should take with your action and your thinking patterns. So a lot of now is they made me act like this, they made me do this, so on and so forth. But we are in control of our actions. We are the only ones in control. They might provoke, right? They can provoke you, sure. But how you respond to your circumstances and to what other people say and do, and what you do and what you say and what you think, how you think about it, that's totally up to you. Okay. So discipline is definitely tied to your direction. Discipline is definitely tied to your direction. It is the control that you have studied to have the ability to remain focused on the direction that you're going, right? So if you've accepted the destination that God has for you, right, and you accepted the instruction, but in order to remain focused in that direction and not get distracted, right, you have to have discipline. Discipline births maturity. Discipline births time management. It births intelligence. Discipline births skill. Discipline births experience. Okay. Discipline births maturity, time management, intelligence, skill, and experience. Okay. So your ability to be disciplined is your willpower. The ability you have to be disciplined in anything, in your studies, in your walk with God, in your friendships, in your marriage, in your relationships, your ability to be disciplined is your willpower. Your willpower grants you the ability to control, right? Your will, the power of your will. It gives you the ability to control, to restrain, and resist, okay? Your willpower gives you the ability to control, to restrain, and to resist whatever impulses that you may have, okay? So your willpower is what you need to resist evil, okay? If it's in the right direction, okay? So your willpower is your ability to resist short-term temptations in order to meet your long-term goals. Remember, the title of this session is discipline, right? Your willpower is what gives you that ability to discipline yourself, okay? It's your ability to resist those short-term temptations to meet your long-term goals. It not only drives your self-control, it's also your ability to do difficult things, right? Your willpower. If you have a will to do it, you will do it, whether it's difficult or not. Some of us don't even have the willpower to do simple things, right? But if you have the willpower, anything, basically what I'm saying, anything you put your mind to, you will do, right? So, like I said, it not only drives your self-control, it is also your ability to do difficult things. So it's a type of strength that is just, it's past what's in your mind. It's past what you feel you're capable of physically. It is a strength from the depths of your soul that gives you the ability to maintain or restrain yourself, okay? It gives you discipline, your willpower. So if you don't possess the will to be directed, instructed, or disciplined, you will not receive and apply directions, instructions, or discipline, okay? If you don't possess the will to be directed, if you don't possess the will to be instructed, and you don't possess the will to be disciplined, then you will not receive discipline. You surely won't apply it if you don't receive it. You will not receive instruction, and you surely won't apply the instruction. You will not receive discipline, and you surely will not apply what you have learned to be disciplined, okay? So your will, you must be willing to be directed, instructed, and disciplined first, okay? You need discipline to create and maintain boundaries. You need discipline to create and maintain boundaries. You need discipline to communicate effectively, right? To even communicate to God what it is you're needing, what it is you're wanting, what it is you need to get out, right? You need discipline to manage your time. You need discipline to maintain a prayer life. You need discipline to maintain financial responsibility, right? You need discipline to parent without bleeding on your children, okay? A lot of people think because you're able to conceive a child and carry a child, that means you're supposed to be a parent. No, you need discipline, okay, to be a parent, to be a good parent. Let's just say that. You need discipline to avoid marital dysfunction. Okay, you need discipline to own a successful business, right? Some of us want businesses, but we're not disciplined enough to manage $200. So how will we manage $200,000 if we don't have the discipline to manage 200? Discipline makes you not acquire debt and expenses that is 50% over your income. You need discipline to manage a business, okay? Discipline is also a part of self-care. It's not just spa dates, okay? Discipline is a part of your self-care. You can do all of the outer stuff to be cute, to be relaxed and create this illusion of peace, right? But without discipline, you will still be overwhelmed and you will still be getting stress wrinkles, okay? Discipline is should be a part of your self-care, okay? Your lack of discipline can become a spiritual insecurity. Your lack of discipline can become a spiritual insecurity. You can only build your confidence in this area by practicing it. I can talk, but unless you practice discipline, unless you practice self-control, you're not going to have confidence enough to do it, okay? Your lack of discipline in your spiritual walk makes you more prone to receive whatever someone says, right? It makes you allow spiritual abuse, okay? So remember I said, we can blame other people, okay? But we are in control of what we think. We are in control whether we set boundaries or not, whether we allow people to run over us or not. We are the ones in control of that. We are the ones in control if we allow someone in our space. If you're not creating a safe space for me, you're not welcome in my space, okay? Doesn't matter who you are. It shouldn't matter, right? If they're taken away from your wholeness, you need to set a boundary, okay? A lot of people run for deliverance, right? For something that is in their control. Your lack of discipline that prevents you from making sound decisions doesn't need a preacher. And that's like a culture now in the churches of deliverance. Let's see somebody fall out and foam at the mouth, right? But your lack of discipline, it's you, it's not a spirit. Sometimes it is a spirit, but when it's you, I'm saying your lack of discipline that prevents you from making sound decisions does not need a preacher, okay? If you lack the ability to make a sound decision, that's different. But you just choosing not to make the right decision, that is your responsibility. So we're not talking about you're bound by something or you're under the control of something else, right? We're talking about you choosing not to make the right decision. That is your responsibility, okay? So a lot of stuff is our fault for what we've allowed, okay? Because we made a bad decision. We didn't study, we didn't take the time to think about what we were going to say. We didn't take the time to think about who we were allowing in our life. We didn't take the time to think about the actions, right? It is the responsibility of the one who gets free from a certain mindset to maintain the discipline needed to keep that freedom. Okay, so we can go through these sessions and all of that, but it's up to you to be disciplined enough to maintain the freedom from the words that you hear, okay, and the words that you receive that apply to your life. So you can pay for all the psychologists, the psychiatrists, and life coaches, but if you don't discipline yourself, you're going to keep loading up their bank accounts, okay? They know that. They can tell whether you have discipline or not. They can tell when you're late to appointments that you don't have discipline. They can tell when you keep canceling appointments, you don't have discipline. So they know, I'm going to keep getting paid off this one, okay? Discipline yourself as a supplement to whatever else you're doing, okay? A lot of people think they need a miracle when they need discipline. You don't need God to work a miracle. You just need to get up on time, okay? You don't need God to work a miracle. You need to just stop eating all those unhealthy foods that's causing the disease you keep going to the hospital for, okay? You need discipline, not a miracle. God heard your request, but you lack the discipline that you need, okay? Some people can't handle being healed because they don't have discipline. They're going to return right back to what they were healed from. And I'm talking about mental healing, emotional healing, physical healing, right? They can't handle it because they haven't decided in their will to be disciplined, okay? God healed people and they turn into Satan's cousin because they didn't have discipline, right? Sometimes doors are closed for that reason, right? Sometimes doors are closed temporarily for you to gain some discipline. Sometimes doors are closed to humble you as well, okay? Doors are closed to teach you things before you have something that's too much for you to handle, okay? The length of time that a door stays closed due to your lack of discipline, that's determined by you. How long is it going to take you to become disciplined? How long is it going to take you to manage yourself, to manage your feelings? How long is that going to take you to manage your time, to manage your money, to manage your resources, to manage your relationships? How long is that going to take you? And that determines how long that door stays closed. Okay? God does not intend for the door to stay closed. Okay? The quicker you can walk through that door, the quicker you can get to representing Him. Okay? Being in lack in any area doesn't glorify God. Abundance glorifies God. Okay? So as long as you're in lack, as long as you're not whole, that gives God no glory. But when you become disciplined, when you maintain self-control and you behave as if, you know, the spirit of the living God that created heaven and earth is on the inside of you, you give Him glory. When people see you and they see a picture of wholeness, they see a picture of peace, That glorifies God. Because then they want to know how. How do you have so much peace? Right? So being in lack does not give God glory. And a lot of times, a lot of doctrines is that they relate humility with being poor. Okay. But poor can be a mindset. Okay. People can have the ability not to be poor, but they don't recognize who they are. Maybe they lack identity. You can lack resources, right? But when you know who you are, you can ask for the resources you need, right? But you need discipline, okay? And I just want to say, like, how do you feel if you think about how God views this? When people say that you can tell I'm a servant of God because I'm poor, or I choose to be poor, right? And I'm not talking about people who take a vow to live only with what they need to do certain works, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Just think about God's view of it, of lack and abundance, right? And what glorifies him. How do you feel when your children make you look like you never taught them anything? When your children make it look like you never gave them anything or sacrificed anything for them, right? You might have to turn some stuff off. You might have to limit their outside influences, right? You might have to close some doors until they learn who they are, until they learn their boundaries for their protection, right? So when God closes a door, it's not because he hates you. It's not because he didn't hear you. Sometimes he keeps that door closed to protect you, right? God does not give us limits to block anything but danger. Okay, if he sets a limit for us, it's because there's something we need to know. There's something else we need to uncover. There's something else that needs to be revealed that could potentially harm us if we go through that door. If we don't know how to pick our destiny helpers, if we think everybody that comes in our face is our friend, that could harm you if you open that door. Okay, if God is blocking something, it is for our good. He will only set limits on you to keep you out of danger. So don't look at every no or every closed door as rejection. Maybe you need some discipline. Okay. Discomfort challenges your discipline. Discomfort challenges your discipline. Discomfort will make you run towards distractions, right? Which causes you to change direction. It causes you to end up in a path opposite of where you should have gone because you felt a little discomfort, right? And the distractions seem easier to follow. Discomfort will challenge your discipline, okay? The distractions of discomfort makes you wasteful with your time. You feel a little discomfort, you start procrastinating. Yeah, I know I said I was going to take care of this, but let me do it later. No, you need to take care of it. You need to discipline yourself for that door to be open. Okay? You will waste so much time procrastinating just to avoid being uncomfortable. Discomfort is supposed to challenge your discipline. That's what proves you're disciplined. When it's uncomfortable, but you still handle it, but you still do it. Okay? The more disciplined that you are, the least likely you are to be intimidated or fearful. The more disciplined you are, the least likely you are to be intimidated or fearful. You won't shrink back because when you are in control of yourself, right? That's your thoughts, your feelings, the words that come out of your mouth, your actions. When you are in control of yourself and whatever you can't control, you believe and are fully persuaded that God is in control of. So you have no reason to back down. You have no reason to be intimidated because you control what you have control of And whatever you don't have control of is in God's hands. And if you are fully persuaded of that, there's no need for you not to go after what belongs to you. Okay? The power of your will, your willpower, grants you the ability to be disciplined, which keeps you in the direction, going in the direction that your life was ordained to go. Okay? There is no discipline without a will. If you don't have the will to be disciplined, you will not be disciplined. Okay? You know that you are disciplined when you subdue every thought, every word that comes out of your mouth, every feeling, and every action by determining how you will respond before you respond. This is how you know you're disciplined. Because every thought, everything that you have the ability to do, everything, you've thought about it before you've done it, and you made a sound decision. That's what discipline does. Okay? Discipline makes a better choice. Discipline opens doors. Discipline directs you on the right paths. Discipline manages your time. Not waste your time and other people's time. Okay? Discipline is self-care. It is. It's self-care. Add it. If you have a self-care to-do list, put discipline on it right now. Right under the mani-pedis, right under the girls' lunch, right under the therapy session, put discipline. It's a part of self-care. Okay? Discipline, discipline, discipline. It is regulating whatever you have the ability to do. So if you're in a position where you feel that you need a miracle and it hasn't shown up, do you need discipline? If that thing that you want so bad, if it happened right now, could you handle it? Or are there some areas in your life that you know made you uncomfortable, and so you took the road to Distractionville? And some of us have been distracted for 10 years. Some of us have only been distracted for maybe 2 weeks because you got uncomfortable. But discipline will open doors. Discipline will deliver you. Discipline will give you peace because you know you are in control of yourself.